You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast. With Brian, Craig, and Jeff give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in to the Outspoken Sportscast here. It's your hosts Brian and Craig. Craig, how's it going, brother?
Good evening. How you doing, brother?
I'm surviving. This has been survival mode the last
Yes,
couple
sir.
days. But doing pretty good here. We got episode 148 talks on Tuesday, top 100 edition, and this main segment we're gonna go over the top 15 and the 100 list that just came out from the NFL, done by the players. The players voted on these. And then we got the headlines. We got Jimmy G staying put. We have the Buffalo Bills parting ways with their kicker. We've got a rookie running back who's been shot, and much, much more right after this, guys. All right, guys. Every year, the NFL players vote on the top 100 players, and they get their input. And this list comes out every year right before the football season starts. And it's always interesting to see where the players have voted other players to be because they play against them. Do you enjoy this list, Craig? Do you enjoy looking at it a little bit and see kind of who the players themselves have? Your mic is muted, I believe. There we go.
Yes and no. It seems awful one-sided at times. There's some guys on here you're like, what? No, that's not where that guy belongs. And then there's some guys that are where they belong. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like favoritism sometimes. It seems like there's some we're not looking. It's more like a popularity contest and not what they actually did on the field. So
right, I'm not taking this list and going, look here. The player said this is the number one dude. This is
yeah.
It's just kind of fun to see who they have out there. But we'll start at number 15 and work our way down to number 1. Number 15, we have the Tyreek Hill, wide receiver from Miami. Okay, he's not the highest wide receiver on the list. We got 2 other wide receivers higher than him. But Tyreek Hill there at 15 for Miami. And did you see that play? They had a 51-yard bomb between Tua and Tyreek Hill. The third preseason game, the first snap of the game is play action fake. Tua goes back and throws the bomb, and they're all like, "Oh, this connection is going to be awesome." Well, if you notice, Tyreek Hill had to stop and slow down and move a lot to his left to catch this pass.
Yeah.
It wasn't a perfectly thrown football.
And he's the most accurate quarterback in the NFL according to Tyreek Hill. Way better than Pat Mahomes. Way better.
And their coach. Did you hear what their coach came out and said he's got the most accurate catchable ball that he's ever seen? I'm like, oh my gosh. Can we stop kissing his ass?
As they
Like,
fair
what?
catch it because he's got a crow hop and bring rain.
It was hilarious. I was like, that was not a good. If he throws a good pass, that's a touchdown. But no, he had to slow down, stop, come back to the ball,
Throw the defensive back on the ground, wait for it.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. But number 14, we got Trent Williams, offensive tackle for the Niners, and he's always on this list in the top. He's one of the best
in the game.
Tackles in the league. Doesn't get any, much better than that. Then you got Trent Williams. I already said Trent Williams. My bad. Josh Allen at number 13, which I'm like, this is too low in my opinion. 13.
See, that to me, is there's
Blasphemy.
not 12 people. There's not 12 people better than Josh Allen in the league right now.
Right, and I like that on this list. That's not just because you could pit 32 quarterbacks and then go from there. You know what I mean? Like, the quarterback's 100%. The most valuable. So I like that they do it differently like that. But Josh Allen to me has got to be higher on that list. Yeah. The number 12, you got Derrick Henry from the Tennessee Titans.
Which, I mean, if you look at that, he was injured all of last year. So how is he 12 when he didn't play? But it's like because that's what they're supposed to go off of is last year and going into this year. So
like it's like the baseball All-Star voting. Some guy hadn't played first half, and they're like, "Yeah, he's going to an All-Star game." Like, for what?
Mr. Steroids himself was voted into the All-Star game and never even played a game the first half.
We got Myles Garrett at number 11. I think that's a fair pick. He's a stud there for the Browns. Travis Kelce at 10. Great. I think that's perfect for him. We got Jalen Ramsey, the highest cornerback on the list, which, you can agree with there.
Pretty locked down, pretty solid.
You got Patrick Mahomes at number 8. Devontae Adams at number 7. And he's come a long way.
I don't have any argument with that because I think he's going to have a breakout season in LA.
He made Jalen Ramsey look foolish last year in the he's unguardable just about. But you got TJ Watt at number 6. Beast of a pass rusher.
He almost broke the single season sack record last year. Probably should have. If he stays healthy, he's going to be an absolute animal.
We'll talk about his health in a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
We got Jonathan Taylor at number 5. He's the highest running back on this list.
Which I think that needs to just be like a little longer. Like he had one good season. Like, let's let him do that a little longer before
be more consistent.
Yeah. I mean, he came out of nowhere last year. So, it was a great season. He was the leading rusher, but I would like to see, before we throw him into the top 5 of all players, I'd like to see him do it back-to-back years.
Yeah, and he's got a good, offensive line.
Absolutely. I don't see why he wouldn't, but I would like to see the consecutive before we throw him in the top 5.
Number 4, we got Cooper Kupp, who is the best wide receiver on this list. At number 4 from the Rams. So far,
again, here's a guy who's been okay, but he gets with Stafford and has one great season, and now all of a sudden he
was healthy. I mean, he misses a lot.
Maybe that's what he's capable of all the time. But to me, he didn't do that with Goff. He never had a season like that with Goff. And so he has one season with Stafford, and he's the greatest thing in the world. So I don't know. We'll see.
If they're going off of last year,
I guess, yeah.
He was, to me, so it's kind of interesting with that position, the wide receiver position. Usually you have a top cornerback, Jalen Ramsey, for a couple of years. Usually you'll have a top quarterback, The wide receiver, every year it seems to change. You had Devontae Adams was the year before, to me, was undoubtedly the best. Cooper Kupp last year. The year before that, the year before Devontae was DeAndre Hopkins when he, that position seems like some guy just takes off that year, and we'll see who it is this year. It could be Kupp again. It could be Devontae again, but that one usually changes it up. You got Aaron Rodgers at number 3, top 3 player in my book. Aaron Donald at number 2, and then you got good old Tom Brady at number 1, which
that
that's
to
too
me
high. That's
way
just
too high.
That's out of
Way too high.
respect. That's just about it.
That's over a career, not over last year. I mean, although he did throw 50 touchdowns last year, and so I mean, you can't really argue with what he did.
Yeah, there's no argument there. I just don't think, you're not starting your franchise with him this year. You know what I'm saying? If you're going. It's just a respect thing. That's all that is. And he's still playing at a high level. So we'll see this year without his offensive line.
We'll see September 11th.
The first game, yeah. Is that his the Cowboys? Is that the first game for them?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I knew this spotlight or question of the week, whatever we want to call it here, it was going to go by quick. But let's head over to headlines. Well, in the headlines, I made my list and I was all good to go. And this breaking news hit last night. The 49ers and quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, there are agree on a contract to restructure his deal, making him the highest paid backup quarterback in the NFL. This is not good, in my opinion. This is terrible because first of all, there's two things why they kept Jimmy G, or it looks like. One, no one wanted him; they couldn't give him away, which I don't believe that one bit. Two, which I highly think it is, they don't trust Trey Lance all 100%. They don't trust him. What kind of message are they sending to Trey Lance? You're sending a message of, hey, we're not 100% with you. We're going to keep the guy that was running the ship last year. He's going to be your backup. And Trey Lance has got to be thinking one missed pass, one mess up, one bad game. And when are they calling the Jimmy G train? When are they going to bring him in? This is just bad. When you draft a quarterback and you say, all right, we're handing the ball over to Trey Lance, that needs to be 100% on. You cannot change your mind. You can't doubt it. You got to make that decision and you got to move on. They should have traded to Jimmy G. That would be like if Green Bay said, yeah, we're moving on to Aaron Rodgers, and then Brett Favre comes back and they're like, oh, we're going to keep him as your backup. That would make no sense. You've got to move on from Jimmy G. I get, Craig, that if Trey Lance goes down, they have the best backup quarterback in the NFL, and he can continue to, go on like probably better than they were with Trey Lance. But I don't like this from the optics look, from perception. I don't like it for Trey Lance. It's just a bad look for me. It's just a bad, terrible look, in my opinion, on what that says about where they are with Trey Lance.
Yeah, I mean, it does put pressure on Lance, and it is for two different reasons. I believe it's not that they didn't want to trade him. I think they couldn't get what they wanted to ask for him. And I think they weren't going to release him because guess who needs a quarterback? The Seattle Seahawks in your own division, and you're going to have to face Jimmy twice. So they weren't going to cut him and allow that to happen. So they went to Jimmy and just said, listen, we're going to money whip you. You're going to stay here, and then after this year, we'll deal. And then we know for sure what we have in Trey Lance. I mean, it is the biggest safety net that, I mean, like we said before, whoever made the decision to go with Lance, their job's on the line. Well, I think that they just protected their job by keeping Jimmy G as a safety net. If we start out 2-4, watch out for the Jimmy G train. And and if you keep him, do you restructure him again and give him his money back and cut Trey Lance?
Trey Lance turns into Jordan Love after that point. To me, you can't put Jimmy G in and then trade him
And go
away
back.
and bring trade. No, once you leave and go back,
Once
you
you
have
go back
to trade
to the
him.
Jimmy G train, you
Yep.
have to stay with Jimmy G, or you have to just live with Lance. And the only reason that you replace him is an injury. And
Yep,
then when he comes back from the injury, no matter what Garoppolo's doing, you got to put Lance back in.
You've got to.
If that's the only way it works. If you bench Lance for bad play, then you can never go back to him, and his career in San Francisco just never existed.
And I don't get people say Seattle needs a quarterback, which I get that. Obviously, that's easy to see. But if the 49ers don't want to keep Jimmy G and they don't think he's good enough to be their starting quarterback, then why do they give a crap if he goes to Seattle? He's not going to beat you. Seattle's garbage. Straight up, one of the worst teams in the NFL. Sorry, Seattle fans. Hopefully none of you take that too harshly, but they're not good.
They're in a rebuild.
You trade them. You trade them away to anybody that's going to give you the highest bid.
And maybe even Seattle didn't give the right trade compensation. They just didn't want to lose him for no compensation.
Well, they figured, everyone in the NFL figured, hey, you're going to cut the guy, so why would I trade you a bunch of stuff for him?
I agree.
So, and I get the side of, well, yes, if Trey Lance gets hurt, we can continue with our season. We'll probably be better with Jimmy Garoppolo than Trey Lance. But
you're not going to be worse.
You're not going to.
You made the NFC Championship last year, so
this is whoever they are hedging their bet. Okay, we're going to keep Jimmy G in case, and it's just to me it's bad.
This is Shanahan going to the owner, going, "Hey man, give me a backup plan. I need a backup plan."
It's almost as bad as the Jets. You draft your future quarterback. You bring in Joe Flacco as a veteran quarterback. You pull out your rookie quarterback last year. You don't know if he's ready. You keep doing that, you're going to ruin his confidence. You're going to ruin the guy. And there's already there's been talks about he's got a short leash. Well, you got to give the guy some time. It takes usually when you draft a rookie quarterback by year 3, we kind of can see what they're going to be, but you haven't even given him that. And they've got to give Trey Lance some time. You drafted him, put some faith in him, and I think whoever drafted him is having some buyer's remorse right now, and they're like, "We got to hold on to Jimmy. We can't."
I don't think Shanahan ever wanted him. I think that was a John Lynch pick. I think Lynch forced him down his throat. I think he wanted somebody different. And
what's interesting with that, you say that, but Shanahan really wanted Mac Jones. They said Shanahan.
That's what I'm saying. I think Shanahan wanted Mac all along. And then Lynch trumped him and took Lance.
Shanahan.
I want my guy.
I thought Lynch wanted. The rumors were that Lynch wanted Mac Jones and almost walked out when they didn't pick him. When they didn't get him.
Oh, okay. Well, I knew there was a battle between those two guys. The Lynch wanted one guy and Shanahan wanted the other, and this makes sense as to that Lynch.
This to me, I think Shanahan wants to go with Trey Lance because I think that's his guy, and I think Lynch had said we can't let go of Jimmy G because I don't believe in Trey Lance. I'm not sure.
Possible.
It could be the other way around. 105.3 The Fan said that yesterday about that, or actually today about rumor is that Lynch wanted Mac Jones and almost walked out when he didn't get him. So. I don't know.
That makes sense.
And eventually there'll be a book on it. Eventually we will know.
Yeah, we'll know because somebody's going to quit or lose their job over this. We already had called that.
Mm-hmm. But this is bad optics. This is bad for Trey Lance, and it puts all the pressure on him.
It's no good for Jimmy either to sit there and lose a year career. He's already had to sit in New England and waste so many years of his career behind Brady. And then he gets this opportunity and thinks he's the guy. And he had some injuries when he first got to San Francisco, but he played well when he was healthy. He played well and won games. And they still go out and draft another quarterback after giving him all the money. It made no sense from why they drafted a quarterback anyway. They had just given Garoppolo the big contract, and you go out and draft another quarterback. I mean, it's almost like you just gave Rodgers the extension and you go draft Jordan Love in the first round. You're like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Did you hear what?
So I don't mean.
Did you
Jordan
hear
Love
what?
will never see the light of day.
Oh no, and we might as well trade him now. He will never be a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
No.
We've
Because
wasted
his 5th-year option is already almost up, and he hasn't had enough to even judge on whether to pick his option up.
And we're gonna have to either just pay him blindly or just
or
him go.
just let him go.
Trust me, that's been our GM's biggest debacle is the Jordan Love pick. Other than that, I like all the other picks he's made, but that pick I was like, oh,
especially when you needed some weapons for Rodgers to have.
Yeah. I was going somewhere with it, but I forgot where I was going. They've got to trust in Trey Lance. They've already made that move. They cannot go back. It's just not going to work out. And what do they say in the NFL? When you have 2 starting quarterbacks on your roster, you have 0 starting quarterbacks on your roster. But all right. Well, the next one. Well, this is a story I kind of went ham bananas on Friday. The Buffalo Bills kicker Matt Ariza and his whole rape investigation, and the Buffalo Bills. I called them out. I said, why, what's going on? Why have you not let go of this guy? Well, Craig, Buffalo Bills parted ways with their kicker after the rape accusations. Now there's rumors that they didn't know. They say, well, there's not rumors. They said they didn't know when they drafted him about the sexual rape investigation going on against him, and they found out later, and they still held on to him for a little while. I think they held on to him until they saw the PR hit, until it finally hit the fan, and they've kind of like, all right, we're going to move on. And I've gave the Bills a little too much credit, I think, but their owner came out and said our culture is more important than winning football games, and that's fantastic mentality. Now, would they have done it if it was a starting quarterback? I'm not sure. But they moved on from the kicker, and they said that they did. He said that we aren't saying he's guilty, but at this time it's better if we part ways. And for people out there, I want to clear something up real quick, because a lot of people out there are quick to dismiss these things. Oh well, the woman just accusing him now because he's famous, or he's going to be famous kicker, or whatever. No, go read the reports. Go look up the story. The girl went to the police the day after she got raped, or supposedly raped. And the police is the one we need to look at here for taking their time. They took their time. The school came out today, actually.
Yeah, because the school drug their feet. I read today, the police came to them, and the school was like, oh, and kind of drug their feet on getting the information to the police that they needed.
Well, the school actually came out and talked about this. And they did an interview, and they said that the police told them to not investigate until they can finish their investigation.
Well, and that's how it should be anyway. The school investigation has nothing to do with legally. The school can do nothing legally. The police are the ones that do it legally.
Oh, yeah. Well, they can
that's the correct way to do it.
No, I know, I get it, but they're saying we couldn't investigate it and talk about it or bring it up because the police said, hey, let us investigate, but they took so long to investigate. That's what I'm saying, is the police took so long to investigate it. It's just now coming out. It's not like I don't want people to think, because a lot of people go just, oh, well, the woman should have gone there earlier. The woman, why is it just now coming out? Well, that's because the police department drugged their foot on doing an investigation, and nothing came out from the school because they couldn't talk about it.
Yeah, so Buffalo didn't know when they drafted him. They found out in January, or no?
Well, they say they didn't know, but there's been rumors some other teams knew, and that's why they drafted, because 2 other kickers were taken before him. Why they stayed away. So I don't know. That's the gray area,
and it could be Buffalo just didn't do their homework.
Yeah, that could be it.
but anyway, they held on to him because he claims he's 100% innocent. He claims there's no truth to this. It's a money grab. But the attorney came back and said, well, if he's innocent, why did he try to give us a settlement 3 months ago that we completely denied because it's not about money? My problem with this is even through the police investigation, this is not a criminal lawsuit. This is a civil lawsuit that was filed. So they say they don't want the settlement, but they're filing a civil lawsuit in that's all you're going to get in a civil lawsuit is money.
Right.
And so how has there still been no criminal charges in any of this? That's my problem here is that means the district attorney does not have enough information to get something to stick in the court of law. It's much easier to prove civilly to win your civil case than it is to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt for the criminal side. That's
right.
why none of the Deshaun cases went to the legal side, because they didn't. The district attorney goes, kinda, but I can't guarantee it'll stick. I can guarantee it'll stick civilly, so that's what we're doing. But this kid claims, hey, man, I didn't have anything to do with this. This wasn't me. This wasn't deal. So I don't know if you see somebody down the road take another flyer on this kid and give him another chance, or if his career is over before it ever started.
Yeah.
But my problem is she did go to them. They did their investigation, and here it is a year later, and we still don't have enough to there's no DNA, there's no fingerprints, there's no other witnesses, there's no alcohol or whatever she had, because she claims that there was more in the drink than just alcohol. That test should be back. That should be back by now.
And that's what
and
I'm
if you
wondering.
don't have any of that and you just civilly want to file a lawsuit, that to me is unfortunately is suspicious. If you went the next day, there should be some kind of physical evidence enough to be able to have charges. And with that not happening and just being civil, to me, you're gonna be pointed. It's unfortunate that it's going to turn into he says no, you said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a Deshaun Watson thing. It's going to be, you're going to get some money out of the deal, and you're going to go away, and you're going to get a thing that says you can't write a book about it. You're going to get a part of your civil settlement is going to be you can't tell nobody what your side of the story is, and it's just going to go away. And Matt Ariza will probably be back in the NFL in a year or so.
Yeah, someone will take him. He punts the ball 80-something yards.
You know, I mean, so this is unfortunate for everybody. It's very unfortunate for the girl that had this happen to her, because obviously something happened that night. Whether it was Ariza, whether it was his friends, whether it was
because there's
whatever.
3 people in this. There's 3
people
in this.
Whether Ariza was part of it, whether Ariza walked her into the room thinking that he was just going to have a night with her, and then those guys were there and things got out of hand and he went, no, guys, don't, whatever happened, nobody will know.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever know, other than the 4 people that are in that room.
But here's my thing too.
But the way that the legal system dropped the ball in this is just mind blowing.
Well, that's the thing too. Okay, because a lot of women that go through these horrible tragic events in their life, they end up coming out later in life because they're ashamed. I like I said, I've never been there, won't ever be there. I don't know what goes through their mind when this happens to them. Okay. But, because when you wait so long right? A lot of the cases they wait so long and then they come out with accusations. It's he said, she said, and there's nothing you can really
because
prove.
there's no evidence. But when you go the next day,
But for that's what I'm saying. For a girl, and this doesn't matter whether it's a famous person and a non-famous person or well, it's just any. I'm talking about in general in life. When a girl goes and gets what's supposed to be done, a rape kit and do all that stuff, and still gets no answers, what the hell are we doing?
yeah, no, there's no
What in
excuse
the
why.
world is going on?
I mean, to me, they either have the worst law enforcement detectives around, or what she says happened didn't really happen. That's what. There's no in between. There's no gray area. When you go the next day, you have the kit done. You have the evidence. You have this. You should have
all that. Mm-hmm.
physical evidence. You should have.
I mean,
fluids. You should have all that.
She
It
said
should be very easy to prove.
She said they pulled out her piercings in her face.
That's what I'm saying.
You should easily be able to look at my nose ring. It's ripped out of my face. Like
there should be some kind of tissue from skin cells from her to them to hair follicles. There should be something. Her hair follicles should be in the room that they were in. The room should have been a crime scene. She should have been the crime scene. Yep. Like all this should have been done, and you can't tell me you just didn't find nothing. Nothing.
And that's what brings all the red flags, and that's what brings people splitting the sides. But I give kudos to the Bills for this is not good. Maybe they did
because you cut your other punter. So now what are you going to do?
Maybe they did it a little bit later than people would have wanted, but kudos for them for saying, "Hey, we're not going to have this in our locker room. We're not going to have this distraction. Let's go ahead and move on. We can find another punter." Like I said, I don't know if they did it if it was a star quarterback, but they did it with a punter, and that's a lot of teams don't. No offense to Craig, but you got a player on your team right now who is involved in a murder. He was in a car when his buddy shot somebody and killed him, and was it Joseph? Is it Joseph, the guy? Joseph saw it, didn't say anything, and I'm like, all right, well he should be fired for that. What are we doing? But he still wears that star on the side of his helmet. So there's a lot of things like that happen in the NFL. So, but anyways,
this whole thing, I've been reading it. It makes no sense to me.
It's insane. Well, speaking of another insane story, rookie running back Brian Robinson from the Commanders was shot multiple times while someone was trying to jack his car during on Monday night. There was non-life-threatening injuries, thank God for that. They say he could be back by the end of this year. He got shot in his lower half. No serious damage, no long-term effects. They said he's been
out of the hospital. He came out of the hospital today and went back to the facility.
Yeah, he got shot right through the knee, but it missed everything. No ligaments, no nothing. Insane. So I hope he's back and healthy and ready to go. Just a sucky situation. See someone with a nice ride and then they want that ride. And,
whew. Yeah. Bad place, wrong time is all
place,
that is.
Wrong time, yep. TJ Watt. Now, I haven't read any information on this to try and find out what his injury was. I mean, I tried to look it up, but they didn't really come out with it.
I know it's a knee injury, but that's all I know.
He goes down with a knee injury in the last preseason game. All it said was it avoids a long-term concern. So the play for him and the play for Thibodeau from the Giants were very alike. A big lineman dives right at your kneecap and rolled both of them up. They both look nasty. This should be illegal. What is going on? The NFL's
NFL's
got to step up. It's illegal if you're getting blocked up top. Yes.
If you're engaged up top,
Yeah, but neither one of these guys were, and they just caved in their knee. And my question is this: I found this out. I think they changed the rule last year, the year before. For pulling guards, a cornerback can't go low. You have to just take the the language. You have to take the freaking hit. So
Yeah.
how this cornerback that's half the size of a pulling 300-pound lineman has to stand up and take a hit from a beast. He can't go low anymore. Well, why does this lineman get to go low and take out the knee of my defensive end? That outside linebacker. That makes no sense to me. And now
No.
you've completely taken out Thibodeau, who the Giants and I was interested to see what he was going to do with their first round pick. And T.J. Watt. I don't know if he's going to miss any time with this, but
it doesn't appear. It says it's nothing serious. It doesn't appear that it's even as serious as Thibodeau's. But still, and it's the Lions. T.J. Hawkinson. So he just came from college. He knows the rules. He's played a season or two in the NFL already. He knows the deal, and maybe it's just we're trying to play hard. But, T.J. Hawkinson doesn't need to go make the team. He's going to make the team. He doesn't need to go and make a super block. Hey, I blocked T.J. Watt and got my running back an extra 5 yards, coach. I'm playing hard-nosed football like you want and play on the team. T.J. Hawkinson's going to make the roster no matter what. But unfortunately, that's why you're not seeing – these guys playing any of these games. It's because stuff like this is continuously happening. So we're not putting Zeke, we're not putting Dak. There's guys that went to the preseason football game and were mad on Friday night. Well, we're going to watch and nobody's playing. Well,
that's what happens in preseason.
Sam Darnold's got an ankle injury, and this guy's got this, and that guy's got that. I can list you of 14 reasons on why nobody's playing. I can show you why nobody's playing.
It's so funny because a bunch of Green Bay Packer fans are, just complaining and moaning. Well, Tom Brady's playing. Why can't Aaron Rodgers play? And then after the T.J. Watt injury, some Packers official site said, "I don't care if we lose 700-0, our first game of the season. This is why you don't play your starters."
That's exactly why. It's exactly why.
Mm-hmm. It just takes one time, and then everyone's calling you an idiot.
If Brady's ankle gets rolled up, Tampa Bay is not going to be like, "Well, I'm glad he was playing."
Yeah, those 3 snaps, that one drive really helped him out.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that one drive in preseason is going to be the reason they won the Super Bowl or not. So let's just stop kidding ourselves.
Whether Dak Prescott goes 0 for his first 7 and Tom Brady goes 7 for his first 7, it's not because he played 3 snaps in preseason. It's not.
Oh my God!
It's not because he played 3 snaps and Dak played 0. It's not because of that.
Yeah.
Not.
You'll have that fan out there go,
"Oh yeah,
well, you should have played preseason." Shut
100%. 100%.
Shut up.
It'll be all over Facebook. The first incompletion, if he goes 0 for 1, well, that's why we don't play preseason. If he played,
he's rusty. He would be rusty. Yeah. Well, the last headline,
Zeke will come out and fumble the first carry. Well, he should have played preseason.
Oh, he should have. Yeah. The last one we got, last headline we got of the night. Ichiro Suzuki, little baseball here for you, enters the Seattle Mariners Hall of Fame. How do you remember Ichiro, Craig? How do you remember Ichiro?
That he came on the scene and was a hitting machine from the day that he walked in the door.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he was as old as he was when he came from Japan. So when I looked at
how old was he?
Suzuki, I believe he was already in his 30s when he came in.
Wow.
So that's the only reason he did not pass Pete Rose for the all-time hit deal, was because he didn't have enough time. If he would have came and played when he was a younger kid,
he was 27.
Okay, so,
almost 30. So
yeah. But if he comes in at 20, like these kids are coming in now, another 7 years at the pace he was on, he passes, because this guy had 200 hits every year. He just fell out of the Japan League and hit 300. I mean, he hit 300 for his career. Like that just doesn't happen anymore. And so it just, to me, he was an amazing ball player who deserves the Hall of Fame, deserves all the accolades he got, but it really would have been interesting to see if he'd have played the other 5 or 6 years that he lost.
He played 14 years.
If you add up his hits in Japan and his hits in America, he passes Pete Rose.
Yeah. I remember him coming in out of nowhere. You didn't really hear the hype like you do nowadays, where you have Ohtani over there or Matsusaka.
Yeah, you had him and A-Rod and Griffey all on the same team. And they thought that was going to be a powerhouse.
He came over out of nowhere. I always remember his freaking batting stance, and when he'd be halfway to first when he makes contact with the baseball.
Yeah, everything was unorthodox. Nobody knew how to throw him.
His speed was insane, and his rocket of an arm out in right field. He played just a great player, and they were kind of talking about, would he be a player nowadays with analytics and all that, how the games change, and but
I don't know. I mean, with the shift and everything like that, he was a slap hitter. Very easily the shift might have very well affected him greatly.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy's just a ball player. He's just a hard-nosed, everyday ball player.
Yeah, and he came out of nowhere. And when he came on the scene,
because when he came, there was no such thing as these guys coming from Japan. And I guess Hideki Matsui was kind of right around the same time.
He came after,
But they just it just wasn't like it is now. There wasn't a part of the salary cap, your international fund. They didn't have that. They didn't have a pool, an international pool to go get these players from, like the Ohtanis and the guys from overseas. You just didn't have any of that. You didn't have any of that. And so when these guys came over, it was they didn't know. Nobody knew who they were. Nobody knew how to pitch to them. Nobody knew. And there were several of them that had very good careers and made very good careers out of it. They just made them later than they should have.
Yeah, now you hear the hype of different young players over there that are ready to come. So it's interesting to see. But he was the first, and he started that whole thing. And
they paved the way for all these guys. There is no Shohei Ohtani without Matsui and
Ichiro.
Ichiro.
And they asked the interviewer about how those guys see him, how Ohtani and other Japan players see Ichiro, and she said basically like a god, almost like an idol, and so it's good to see him go in the Seattle Mariners Hall of Fame. But that
I wish he would have won a title. I really do. I wish he'd he's kind of like Trout. He never even really got any real playoff. Like they had that year where they won, the 112 games or whatever, but they didn't do anything in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they lost the first. Did they lose the first round? I think it was
absolutely.
Oh man,
So if you could have kept Griffey around, you could have kept A-Rod around. It would have been interesting to see what that team could have done. Because that was a solid team back in the day, playing in the Metro in the Kingdom. I mean, now they can't get any fans to walk through the door of that place. They're getting a little bit back with this J-Rod kid that they just drafted and
they just signed out the wazoo.
So, but it's a lot of these guys' careers. Like, I mean, Matsui happened to hit land with the Yankees, so he won World Series and got the opportunity to play in these things. Ichiro, never got that chance. Otani's never getting that chance.
Let's not forget about you, Darvish. Came over, played with the Rangers.
Yeah.
So
but he got to at least go and play in the World Series. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what he did to open the doors for these guys and how it affects the future.
Oh, sorry, it's getting around bedtime. All right. Well, speaking of bedtime, though, that is all we got for you. Headlines and everything else. Jimmy G was the big breaking news. We had cut down day in the NFL, and as far as I've seen, no major surprising, shocking moves have been made.
The Raiders cut a first-round offensive lineman, a tackle. They're going to eat $8 million, but from the review of it, he was an average guard and a terrible tackle, so nobody's really going to pick him up. It's kind of interesting to see what the Cowboys are doing.
What quarterback?
It appears they're not really sold on either one of them. So I guess there's an NFL rule, and they better hope that nobody takes one of these guys because that'll really screw up their plan. But what you can do is, as long as neither one of them get claimed, they can bring each one of them up for 3 weeks before they have to make a determination on who the backup is. So they can make Greer the backup for 3 weeks and Cooper Rush the backup for 3 weeks. And then in week 7, they have to decide who the actual guy is and put him on the roster. So for 7 weeks, you can use the roster. You can kind of toy with your roster. They did the same thing with kicker. They cut Maher today, so they don't have a kicker right now on their 53-man roster.
What the heck?
But if he went to the practice squad, they can use the practice squad spots to bring him up and down and up and down and up and down. I don't know if that's the plan, but to me, they don't have a backup quarterback. They don't have a kicker. They don't have, I'm not sure what we're doing. We have the Tyron Smith injury. We have no backup quarterback. We have no kicker. And they expect this team to be in the playoffs, and Tyron Smith will be back in December to make a Super Bowl run. No, Jerry, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So Marlon Mack got cut today from the Texans. It appears that they're just trying to be the worst team in football. They're just giving Lovie Smith absolutely nothing to work with over there in Houston. So there's that. So that was kind of really the only shocking one that I saw. Maybe a linebacker here, but nothing major. And it'll be interesting to see what Carolina does to back up Baker, because now they don't have a backup with Darnold being hurt for 4 to 6 weeks. They don't have a backup because their third string has the Liz Frank injury. Kellen Mond got cut. He's out there. He's probably the best. The guy from A&M is probably
he got drafted last year, right?
Yeah. So he was cut. So that's probably the best backup that's available right now. If Carolina was to go find him or somebody was to go find him, I guess you could say Cam Newton's still out there. They could call Cam and let him back up Baker and do it that way. But Carolina's kind of, if I'm Matt Rule, and I'm fighting for my job, to not have a backup quarterback and have a running back that's made out of paper mache, I'm a little bit scared for that situation. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when the season starts. But a lot of rosters got cut down today and don't have a lot of positions that you really need. You got several teams without a backup quarterback. You got the Bills without a punter that I know of. You got the Cowboys without a place kicker. Well, I mean, actually Carolina doesn't have a place kicker either. Their guy had a severe groin or some severe leg injury. They had to cart him off the field in the third quarter of the preseason game, so they don't have a kicker. So I mean, to me, you got 53-man rosters out here, and they don't have a lot of positions that you need to fill a football team. So it's interesting to see how these teams are doing it now. They had 80, they had this, they had that. They got 3 or 4 different cutdowns, and you got teams without backup quarterbacks and place kickers and punters, and we're 10 days away from the start of the season. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah. Mason Crosby for the Packers just came on. They had to get him off the PUP list by today, or he had to miss 4 games.
Yeah.
And he just got him. I'm like, Mason Crosby, no offense, buddy, you've been great, but I don't trust
He
this
missed
guy
a lot
anymore,
of kicks
man.
last year that he knows to never miss.
I don't trust him anymore. So
No.
Kickers are apparently hard to find.
Apparently.
Hard to find.
So.
But I bet you, what's that phone call going to be like for the Bills? Hey, I know we just cut you.
We cut
you know, we cut you for
but
a
if
guy.
I
We
slide
thought
you an extra.
we cut you, but for a guy that was a rookie who we thought was going to pan out, but it turns out he might be a rapist. So I gotta need you to come on back here.
that was just an early April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
We were just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh my god.
It's all fun and games.
Oh my gosh.
We'll put an extra sack of money in your locker.
Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, give me an extra $5 million and we're good to go. So
we'll pay you under the table, give you a commercial, we'll do something. We'll let Josh take you to dinner. I don't know. Yeah.
Insane.
If I'm the Bills, I'm having Josh Allen calling, going, "Hey man, those guys are just don't worry about them guys." It's real weird. So all right, brother.
All right, brother. Well, that's the show for tonight, guys. I will see you Friday. Craig will not. Do you want to give us a what's in your locker since you won't be doing it on Friday for a while?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and give it.
High school football, it looks like. The Centennial Spartans are 1-0. They beat Burleson and John Kitna 42-13 on Friday night. And we're marching into to hopefully have another solid season, and hopefully the rain stays away and we can play some football and get these kids in the band ready for their competitions come the end of September. So they use the football games to get the show all prepped up and play for the fans, and then they go and do their band competitions the end of September. So hopefully it all works out, and we'll be back. We'll be back in 8 or 10 weeks. So
nice. Whooping John Kitna.
Other than that, I got a fantasy football draft on Saturday. That'll be about it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm setting up the Survivor League. So hoping to get more people on it than we had last year. I got a couple flakes this year that aren't playing this year, but hopefully we'll get some people in there. But all right, guys. Well, Craig won't be on Fridays. He's got the high school football and high school band going on, but I will be on Fridays, and Jeff will be on Fridays when he can make it. He was on last Friday, so that was really good. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. It's supposed to rain here every day till I don't know when here in Texas. I'm just hoping our trucks don't break down, and then we can get through a day
6 months without rain, and now we're going to get it all in a month. So
yeah, we're going to get it all in a month. God tried to give it to us all last Monday, but
yeah.
But all right, guys. Well, God bless, and remember,
keep it outspoken.